Here's the question I think you have to ask. If you are Amazon, what exactly are you paying for? What exactly, if you are Amazon, what is it that you're into this deal for? And I think if you're Amazon, you're into this deal, in my opinion, for tier one rights. You're into this deal to be the main and really the only platform to go to when Utah and USC are playing, when Utah and Oregon, when USC and UCLA play their final game in the Pac-12, like the biggest games every year, in my opinion, that's what Amazon is paying for. But Jake, I don't know, as a young millennial. Are you a guy that is comfortable? Look at Thursday Night Football last night.
Yeah.
What did we talk about?
Yep.
It's not so comfortable to flip off your TV and go over to Amazon and watch the game. Are you a guy that's comfortable going to Amazon to watch Pac-12 football?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Thursday Night Football, I'm still trying to figure out what's comfortable. What is the ideal setup? And I'm getting to a place where I kind of want to stream the Thursday Night Football game on my MacBook and watch regular TV on the TV because I don't like flipping back and forth. It's an annoyance. And
it really is, isn't it?
It is. Like, it's inconvenient. It's an annoyance. Like, it's the only reason I'm on Amazon Prime at that time of day. Weekends is different because, if you're at home and you want to watch a movie or something, okay, that's different. But to watch sports, there's not, like, that's the only reason I'm there, and that's the frustrating part. I think that, when you look at the TV watching experience, I think for Amazon, it really matters. And when we talk about streaming deals and how they're going to set all this up, like, I think, the experience gets better if you have other games to flip to at the same time while you're on Amazon Prime. But I got to tell you, I didn't really watch too much of that game last night simply because I didn't like flipping back and forth. There was other stuff on, like I was doing things, like it is an inconvenience. Like, you can't, like, let's say that you're watching Thursday Night Football last night on Amazon Prime on your TV and you're making dinner for the kids. Okay, so now you got to have your DirecTV remote and you got to have your TV remote. You can't just pick one up and flip the channel. That's my problem. It has to be a smoother experience.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think it's also one of those things where when you look at the Pac-12, how valuable of a commodity is that? Because some of the other details that are involved in this, sources in the TV industry told me last night that Amazon and the Pac-12 are not, in fact, close on a deal, and that the Pac-12 is really pushing, for obvious reasons, to get a deal done sooner than later. But Amazon has been very savvy about this. They have told the Pac-12, hey, we need clarity on UCLA's situation because we don't know what we're paying for. And I think that makes a lot of sense. But the other issue between Amazon and the Pac-12 that I think is a deal breaker, and it's going to be interesting to see how the Pac-12 navigates this, is the Pac-12 wants their biggest games on TV and on stream.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's an ESPN model because ESPN routinely does that, where they'll stream a game in the ESPN app that's already on ESPN television, ESPN.com. That's the model that the Pac-12 wants, but they want that Amazon money. And Amazon has made it very clear that if they are going to buy Tier 1 rights, they are going to own Tier 1 rights. There will be no TV option for the biggest game. It will only be on Amazon. And I understand why the Pac-12 wants to do that. They want to have their cake and have somebody eat it too. Like, they want somebody to pay for Tier 1 stream and Tier 1 TV. And I just don't think that's realistic. And again, I understand why you're doing that. The UCLA component of this makes perfect sense. The Pac-12 conference, George Kliavkoff has done everything that he can do to undermine UCLA's move to the Big Ten. He has put it in the mind of the UC Board of Regents that they have the ability, that they should block the move to the Big Ten.
For real.
I don't know. We're going to find out next week exactly what that's all about. But what I'm hearing now is that Amazon and the Pac-12, are not close to a deal. They don't have major roadblocks, but the Pac-12 is going to have to come off of this desire to have their biggest games on TV and on stream if they want to be a stream league, if they want to be a groundbreaking league where, hey, they're the first one that's all in on Amazon Prime, well, you're going to have to give up the ghost of having your big games on TV as well. And I just don't know if the Pac-12 as a conference is in a place to take that kind of risk. You are already losing eyeballs even with a TV deal. You are already in a situation where, because of the Pac-12 network, a majority of people that make decisions in college football don't see anything beyond what game is on ESPN, ABC, or Fox. And that's a huge problem. So, Jake, I don't know what the answer here is. I do know that Amazon and the Pac-12 are not close to putting a pen to paper.
Well, and it's kind of like you said, the Pac-12 wants to be all in on Amazon, but if you're going to be all in on something by nature, that means you can't be half in on something else. Like, you don't get to be all in on Amazon and also be half in on ESPN. Like, that's not good business for Amazon. And frankly, I still maintain that the Pac-12 and George Kliavkoff forget where they're at. They forget the position in life that they're in, which is, hey, you have two major brands, and I get it, UCLA is very hot and cold in terms of if they're good this year or bad last year, whatever. Like, the football field results are very hit and miss, but, you look at USC and UCLA, and those are two of the top brands in the conference. So the idea that let me get this right, so you're going to try and block them, then you're going to try and go all in on Amazon, but then also backdoor ESPN. Like, they're not taking strong direction. They're basically saying, hey, we're the best of the best and we get to do whatever we want. And that's not going to work. And eventually, resources are going to dry up in the sense that you're going to get put into a corner and you're going to get pushed into a deal that you don't like that's going to be worse than the deal you have available now. And so to me, again, I just hope that they understand the position in life they're in, but I'm not confident in that. So I think, again, it all goes back to this whole concept of user experience and quality on the football field. This year, the Pac-12 has been really good. They have been. Like, you've got a bunch of teams in the top 25. Like, you're having a really nice year. But who's to say, like, when SC leaves or UCLA leaves, if you don't block that or, however that works out, what does that look like then? Are you the Pac-10? Do you add a couple schools? Like, that's why I think Amazon wants to wait. Because like you said, they don't know what they're paying for. And to me, that makes a lot of sense. Why would you sign ink to paper if you don't even know what product is going to be on the field?
Well, I think the other thing that is so clear here is that the Pac-12 has options. It's simply how much financial gain is in each one of those options. Because, again, the funny part of this whole conversation, I say funny, maybe it is the most interesting part of this entire conversation between Utah and the Pac-12, between the Pac-12 and Amazon, and this news being leaked on, the day that Utah and USC playing the Pac-12 championship. Amazon and ESPN are not adversarial. They do not have a competitive natured relationship.
Right.
I think ESPN realizes it is your only true television and stream distribution platform. Thanks. They offer you both. ESPN is all-encompassing. They are the biggest, baddest MFer in sports for a reason.
But Fox has an app, right? But Fox has an app. But nobody cares about the Fox app.
That's right.
Nobody goes to the Fox app. Nobody thinks, oh, Tiger's on TV on the 18th. I'm going to go to Fox? No, you don't think that. You're thinking you're going to go to ESPN first, and if it's not there, you're probably going to CBS. Like, that's what you think as a consumer of sports. So to me, I agree that ESPN and ESPN's story, and I think this is an important little sidebar inside of this Amazon thing.
Right.
You got to remember where ESPN came from. ESPN was hemorrhaging money in the magazine days. Magazine subscriptions were going downhill, and they make this major pivot in their business to go digital with the app. So they went from no app and basically no traction there.
And no stream.
Yeah, no stream to major stream, major app, major traction, UFC deals, NHL deals, like all these deals inside of ESPN Plus. And now they are the juggernaut in the space. And that's why I think they're able to say, hey, we don't want to be adversarial with Amazon.
Because they don't need to be.
They don't need to be.
They don't need to be.
Yeah.
And I think if you're a sports fan and you don't have the ESPN app on your phone, you're either stubborn or I don't know why you wouldn't. Because everything you want is on the ESPN app. And I just think that as much hype is around Amazon and the Pac-12, I think if you are the Pac-12, your best, highest leverage play is to go all in with ESPN.
Facts.
And I think you have to do a deal with ESPN where you get your best games on television and on stream. And with all due respect to Amazon, because, again, I think Amazon Sports does a fantastic job.
All due respect.
If I'm the Pac-12, I just don't believe that sports fans right now today are ready to fully assimilate to streaming full time of the best Pac-12 games. I don't. And I think it comes at a time where the Pac-12 is incredibly vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Pac-12 is incredibly vulnerable. And you have to make the right decision. It is, look at the Big Ten, for instance. The Big Ten can take a risk.
Yeah.
The Big Ten can make a mistake. Maybe this, NBC, Big Ten After Dark game that they're going to do. Maybe that's a mistake. I don't know, but they can afford the risk because the Big Ten's the big MFer in town right now.
Yep.
The Pac-12,
granddaddy of them all.
The Pac-12, as crazy as it is, because I think the Pac-12, to your point, has had a really good year on the field. Right? You clearly can make the argument the Pac-12 is a better football conference here and now than the Big Ten is.
The field.
On the field. But here's the issue. The Big Ten's worth more because people are willing to pay more for the Big Ten. And when I look at the Pac-12, it is beleaguered from a financial standpoint.
Keep it real.
This USC-UCLA thing was absolutely nut-busting. And then you look at the desperation. You look at the poor leadership that has continued to cripple the Pac-12. You can't afford to have a mistake. This is it for George Kliavkoff. This is it. If Kliavkoff doesn't make a good deal and their distro's not good and you're not on, in my opinion, if you're not on TV and on stream for your biggest games, ESPN, I think you're doing it wrong.
Right.
I think it's something that Pac-12 fans should really pause about and really think about. Do you really want to be a stream-only conference? Because I'm here to tell you I don't think you do.
Well, and I don't think it's like streaming. This is the thing. Streaming's just not in a place where you can just be on stream. Like, it's not there yet. It will be that.
No.
Like 10 years from now, we're probably having a different conversation. Like 10 years from now, streaming will probably be prolific in the live sporting event space. Like prolific to the point where you have people who just are not TV people and only catch it on stream. Like
yes.
it'll probably be there, but right now it's not there. And I think the challenge is for the Pac-12, all right, are we looking at this deal in a 10-year space or a 5-year space? Because I also wouldn't sign a 10-year deal. I'd sign a 5-year dear for sure with Amazon and ESPN and everybody.
Boy, that is a really interesting thing to bring up. That's a really good point. Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
If you are, who are the biggest programs in the Pac-12?
Excuse me. Biggest programs.
Programs. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. Sorry, Lincoln.
Yeah.
USC and Oregon, right? Well, USC's out, so you can exclude them.
Oregon is by far, from a TV viewership standpoint, the biggest program in the Pac-12.
I think Oregon and Washington, and this is a question I would ask. You talk about grant of rights.
Yeah.
If you're Oregon, are you going to give the Pac-12 your grant of rights knowing that that's going to end up on Amazon only? Man,
No,
that's a tough.
can't do
That's see, and that I think is
Never.
That's why I think that's a really salient point by you.
Yeah.
Are you, if you are Oregon, if you are Washington, hell, if you're Utah, if you're the Utah Utes, do you feel like you benefit most by signing a grant of rights for 5 years? Let's say on the low end, 5 years with the Pac-12. Are you benefiting from that grant of rights if they take your grant of rights and they put you, all of your games are on Amazon Prime?
Obviously not.
Boy, I think that's a tough argument.
Yeah, and by the way, you're the Pac-12 champs, right? Like you're a team that is consistently in the Pac-12 game, and who's to say if they win tonight, right? Hey, maybe they lose tonight. Totally get it. But my point is that on the football field, and this, I'm glad we brought it up from this angle, because I think on the football field and in the office on a sheet of paper performance are two different things. They just are.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think Utah suffers at a pretty high level when you think about, hey, they're this great team that's in the Pac-12 championship game consistently, but somehow from a business standpoint, your head coach has to come out and say that he needs more resources, that he needs more things to recruit with the current day NIL/transfer portal situation. So when I look at programs around the Pac-12 and frankly around the country, like your distribution deal has always mattered, but I think it matters even more now because you have guys who are only transferring to certain situations because of the ease with which they can get to the league. So like you have this Deion Sanders situation. Wherever Deion goes, guys are going to go there because they know they can get to the league. And if Deion decides to go to a school like, let's say, Cincinnati, just as an example, let's say that he decides to go to Cincinnati. That is going to be an easy path for guys to get to the league with Deion Sanders as the head coach, and then you have a great distribution deal for that school. Just the same way as a quarterback playing under Kyle Whittingham at Utah, it's not an easy path to get to the league. Anybody see that Cam Rising barely scratched the top 50 for college quarterbacks in the nation?
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy,
but
yeah.
But whether that's true or not, whether that ranking is accurate, quote unquote accurate, right? Like, perception is reality. If people don't know you and can't see you, you're not getting to the league.
Well, I also think that all of our college football talk on this show is presented by our friends at Barbecue Pit Stop. Logan, Layton, Lehigh, Murray, and St. George, or of course, you can always shop with them online, bbqpitstop.com. It is the holiday giving season. You know that you are gift giving to your dad. Trust me, the ladies love that smoker, dude. I'm telling you now, you drop in some cherry pellets before you put the wings on the smoker tonight for the Pac-12 championship game. That aroma wafts through the air, dude.
The aroma.
I'm telling you, it closes a deal for you after the game's over. Go. That's a guarantee, a promise. You have a line out of your backyard gate.
Dilly dilly.
When you go to Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com. You can get all the best rubs and spices. Of course, again, you know that when you hear the name Barbecue Pit Stop, it's synonymous with Traeger, Yoder, Big Green Egg, Camp Chef. The best equipment, Barbecue Pit Stop. The best rubs, spices, wing dust, Barbecue Pit Stop. The best advice, the best guys, the best gals, the best, I think, smoking and barbecue professionals, Barbecue Pit Stop. You get all of that. And the best part is, hey, on a snowy day like this, you want to do some shopping? You didn't go to work. You stayed home. Smart. Good job by you. Get online, bbqpitstop.com. Do some Christmas shopping. Knock it out. Talk to the guys. There's a great chat feature on their website, bbqpitstop.com. No matter where you are, whether you're in Poughkeepsie, Brigham, no matter where you are in this country, you can shop online at bbqpitstop.com. Barbecue Pit Stop. They deliver all of our college football talk on this show. Cam Rising and Utah don't get the respect they deserve because of their distribution deal.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
In large part because they're in the championship game seemingly every year the last few seasons. And I think that, unfortunately, it's just that's how the world works. So again, to bring this back home, let's say that you were on Amazon every week this season. I'm curious how that would have impacted his ranking or how that would have impacted, the college football playoff or because again, we all know the age-old conversation about, Jimmy Bob, watching an 8:00 kickoff Pacific time on the East Coast in New York at, 11 or whatever. Like, we all know that story. We all know that tonight there are going to be people who don't watch this game because,
but it's the Thursday night, USC going to Pullman to die several years ago game. It is.
So wait, not only did nobody watch that game, USC loses, so now you're not in the college football playoff and they're not in the top 10 in the country.
It's Cam Rising missing the Washington State game and nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
Well, why is that? Because Fox didn't send their crew there. They did it from the studio in L.A. They didn't. Fox, literally, it's the Pac-12. We don't need to send play-by-play announcers.
Yeah, why would we send play-by-play announcers there?
What? We don't need to do that. So they didn't know Bryson Barnes started.
Yeah.
And you get into this thing where the Pac-12 is just not getting the coverage and the respect that it deserves.
But they haven't earned that respect.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. All right, let's get some of your thoughts in here. Mike Maple says, Lord Radon, Oregon doesn't see it that way. Hence why PAC schools have always seen themselves on a higher level than everybody else sees them. Boy, ain't that the truth. Lord Radon says Oregon doesn't have any other options unless they want to jump to the Big 12. I actually disagree with that wholeheartedly. And we've talked about this on the show in the past as well. I do believe that the Big 10 would love to add Oregon and Washington. I just don't think that their membership will pay, will want to pay to have Oregon and Washington in the conference, which is what that comes down to. Because if you add Oregon and Washington to the conference, you're going to take a smaller slice unless you can get somebody like Amazon to come on board and do a larger third-tier streaming deal. But guess what? That's becoming more and more difficult because Amazon wants to be the player instead of a player, which is a big difference. I disagree that Oregon doesn't have any other options.
You have options when you've been seen by 26.5 million people, not including the broke Pac-12 network views.
But Jake, it's Bo Nix.
Right.
Bo Nix. Anyway. I'll stop. Mike Maples, good morning to you, friend. He says Amazon will also demand that if they buy it, all schools stay in. I don't see Oregon and Washington doing that unless it's top dollar, and it sounds like Amazon's not there.
No, I just disagree. That's just not what's happening, Mike, with all due respect. They're not saying, hey, everyone's got to be in. What they're saying is we're not going to sign a deal until we know who's in.
That's exactly
right. We're
right.
not going to sign anything until we know if UCLA is still in the Pac-12 or if they're in the Big Ten. Which makes perfect sense. Why would you sign an agreement? Why would you put ink to paper on a deal that you don't know its value? How do you know what you're paying for? How do you know? Like, you can't negotiate on something that has value that's in the gray area.
But again, look at the difference between the Pac-12 and the Big 12. Now, all the media homers are going to tell you, well, the Big 12 panicked and they went out because they knew. I think the Big 12 acted pragmatically by getting their deal done ahead of the Pac-12, the Big 12 acted pragmatically by getting their deal done ahead of the Pac-12. And I think ESPN and Fox realize they're in the catbird seat. They don't have to aggressively pursue the Pac-12. I think they're waiting for this UCLA thing to play out.
Yep.
I think you look at Fox. Fox has told the Pac-12, as we reported first on this show, Fox has told the Pac-12, we are not interested in Tier 1 rights. We are not here for Tier 1 rights on the Pac-12. You want to give us your third game every week? Okay, great. But guess what? We already have late window games now and late window relationships with the Big Ten. There's just no leverage to be had for the Pac-12. ESPN would like Pac-12 games, but I think what you saw with Fox and ESPN on the Big 12 is Fox was much more here for Big 12 basketball.
Which is smart.
They don't need the football content. They needed the basketball content.
Yeah.
There's just no leverage here for the Pac-12.
Well, and I think one of the points you've always made when we have this conversation is that ESPN and Fox basically collude. They work together.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really important point because they don't, if the two juggernauts are working together in the space, and then you have what I think most people would call this, oddity in Amazon coming into the TV space, a newcomer, if you will. It doesn't behoove ESPN and Fox to spite Amazon. What it behooves them to do is figure out, okay, what does Amazon want, right? Do they want Tier 1 in the Pac-12? Do they want Tier 3? Like, what do they want? Once you know what they want, then it's smart to get the three of you in a room and say, okay, here's how we're going to break this out, right? This is what we want. That's what you want. We're going to pay more. You're going to pay less. Bada boom, bada bing. That's how business is done. And my point is, George Kliavkoff and the Pac-12 are not in a position to flip anybody the bird and say, hey, we want it this way or it's not going to happen at all. Because if that's what you're going to do, then you'll just stay on the Pac-12 network and you're not going to make strides.
Well, and I think the other issue here is, again, I'll go back to the word of leverage for the Pac-12.
Yeah.
If you have Fox and ESPN that are, and I agree, they're likely in cahoots. They know what they want. You look at that Big 12 deal, that worked out for everybody. But if Fox and ESPN are communicating on some level, whether, legally, however you want to point to collusion, if those two guys know what the other guy wants and is doing, and you have Amazon, who has no competition in the space.
Yeah.
So now, wait a minute. ESPN and the Big 12 are not competing against, or ESPN and Fox are not competing against each other like they did not in the Big 12. And now ESPN doesn't view Amazon as a competitor. They respect their position in the stream platform. Who are you going to leverage against each other? It's not Fox and ESPN. It's not ESPN and Amazon. You're not leveraging anybody. And this becomes the problem.
Yeah.
Because you want to talk about somebody that has nowhere else to go. Where is the Pac-12 going to go here? Because they didn't do a deal all those years ago with Google. Larry Scott promised us all those years ago at Pac-12 Media Day. He sat in front of Jake and I and told us, hey, we have a this and that stream deal, and that never happened.
Yeah.
They've been so slow to acclimate to streaming. Where else are they going to go? They don't have anywhere else to go because the SEC, new deal. The Big 10, new deal. The Big 12, new deal. The Pac-12, no deal.
And the ACC is in lock with their deal.
And by the way, let's not also forget the Mountain West is just this silent competitor sitting and waiting. You have this great new commissioner. She is unbelievable. She is skilled. I think people are raving about her. What's Mountain West going to do here?
Well, and you asked the question, hey, where's the Pac-12 going to go? Well, if the Pac-12 can't figure it out, teams like Oregon State are going to go to the Mountain West. Like teams like the lower end team could find its way to the Mountain West, and if you're the Mountain West, that's what you're waiting for. You're not interested in rocking the boat or doing anything outlandish. You're interested in securing your future and then adding to that future. And I think it's brilliant. I think it's really smart. And I think the timing of the commissioner change in the Mountain West is no coincidence, right? Yep. The timing of signing your mark in the Big 12, no coincidence. So I'm just telling you, those little things matter.
Arlington Bears makes it awkward this morning. He says, morning, fellas, 2-hour delay, school delay here in Utah County, so I get to stay in bed and listen. Are we a soundtrack or are you an active viewer? No, I'm going to leave that alone. Mike Maple says, Jake, I didn't explain myself very well. I agree. They want to know what they're paying for. Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Tanner Plummer says, where are you at in Utah County, Arlington? Marby Dog says, there's SEC, Big Ten, Notre Dame, and then everyone else. ESPN is giving SEC a major competitive advantage.
But again, dude.
You're gonna see it across all of the ESPN platforms.
Yes.
And the other thing that I think is interesting, and we've talked about this as well, and I heard about this again last night when I was talking to a TV guy, Amazon is also having very quiet conversations about brokering huge TV-only games or stream-only games.
Uh-huh.
So they're talking about, like, hey, think of two major properties, an Alabama-Ohio State game. That early season USC-Ohio State game that we used to get. Like, those big marquee kickoff games. Amazon's trying to broker those as well. And something else I thought was really interesting. That mid-season tournament that the NBA is talking about, Amazon wants a piece of that. And I think that's a really compelling space. The NBA on stream only, they're clearly struggling with the NBA app. They are. There's no doubt about that. It's not great. Amazon has the money and the wherewithal to come in and do that.
Well, and I think if you're Amazon, that's one of your strong suits is your flexibility in the space, like your ability to say to Adam Silver, hey, we're looking forward to this tournament. You've got this matchup on paper. We'd like that to only be on our platform. Like, I don't know why Amazon hasn't been side hustling all the major leagues to do this. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't have the match with Tiger and that the foursome that plays essentially.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you have that only on Amazon, right? Like, there are ways to put things together. Amazon is never going to get the Super Bowl. Amazon's never going to get the NBA Finals. That's not going to happen.
But I also think that Amazon could have the Spanish language rights to X event, or the possibilities are endless. But also interesting you bring up Tiger Woods, because my TV guy also last night was telling me, hey, LIV Golf has approached Amazon more than once. Mm-hmm. And Amazon has been reticent to do a deal with them. People, I'm telling you, Amazon is in the catbird seat. They don't have to do anything. And I know that everybody's like, well, Amazon's laying people off. Dude, Amazon is a pragmatic business company. Did you guys see the numbers that came out on Amazon? Jake, pull those Amazon earnings up. The earnings for Amazon the report that came out this morning was flipping unbelievable. Amazon's earnings through Black Friday and the kickoff of the shopping season were massive. They had record earnings. Amazon is not hurting for money.
So, sorry, not to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
So this is from Amazon. This is Amazon's numbers, Amazon.com. These are their numbers.
And the date on that is?
The date on that is October 27, 2022.
Okay. So
net sales increased 15% to, and I know you find it hard to believe, $127.1 billion in just the third quarter, compared to $110.8 billion in the third quarter of 2021. So
he said the third quarter.
Just the third quarter.
Say that number again, in the third quarter.
So again, net sales increased 15% to $127.1 billion in the third quarter of 2022 as compared to $110.8 billion in the third quarter of 2021. So these numbers are why Amazon can operate freely. This is why Amazon can do whatever the hell Amazon wants. This is why George Kliavkoff is not in a position to be holier than thou and do whatever he wants.
What did the CEO of Amazon say? Andy Jassy, the CEO at Amazon, said, yeah, Amazon Prime is possibly going to become its own business unit. Because at Amazon, when you're making billions a quarter, and that's in sales and revenue, you have all these different business units. Just because one is laying off here, we talked about Amazon Alexa on this show, that Alexa's lost them billions of dollars. That doesn't mean that Amazon.com or Amazon, the app, is struggling. It doesn't mean that Amazon Prime Video is struggling. It means you have this one business unit, and they're going to have layoffs related to that one business unit, but hey, they're going to reallocate. And from what I understand, Amazon Sports is not struggling financially.
I want to give you guys a few examples of things that Amazon is capable of doing that maybe fly under the radar, just because this is in their earnings report. I think this is interesting. So you have Amazon Prime, and this is just the TV stuff, right? Obviously, Thursday Night Football, they kicked that off, right? 15 million viewers for its first game. Really solid numbers. Other things, though, that premiered on Amazon Prime across Europe were UEFA Champions League in Germany and Italy, League One in France, right? Exclusive coverage of the U.S. Open tennis in the UK, right? So they're already side hustling a lot of this stuff in Europe. They're already doing this. But other things, other opportunities that they've created in other spaces besides sports. You have them expanding to places like Belgium. Amazon.com is now in Belgium, right? You look at you look at rolling out Venmo as a payment option. You look at being able to partner with the BMW group to offer Amazon services in BMWs.
Well, how much was that? Remember we were talking about how many subscribers they have?
Oh yeah, I can.
It's almost. I think it's as many subscribers as they have Americans or something stupid like that. Like it is amazing to me that it's Amazon.
So in 2017 they had 99 million subscribers to Prime. 18 they had 112 million. 19 they had 124 million. Dude. 2020 they had 142 million and a half. Like it just keeps going, and that's what I'm saying. Like. The point is not that Amazon is some great magical place, but what it is flexible. What it is cash flowing. What it is able. And they're in the tech space, so you don't have to question whether they're able to put things together.
As of January 5th, 2022, almost a year ago, Amazon had 148.6 million Amazon Prime members in the U.S.
Yeah, bro.
That is up 50%. That's incredible. That is incredible to me. All of this to say, Amazon is not in a hurry and should not be, because I think they know they're in the hot seat. Kanai Johnson, good morning. Hey, Monty, is it true Qatar paid $200 billion for the FIFA World Cup, the most by any country? That is I actually think it's $220 billion, but that's the cost, the total cost, rights fees, construction, infrastructure. Yeah, it's the most expensive FIFA World Cup in the history of the tournament.
Both with lives and dollars.
Yeah, they over 500, and that's conservative. 500 people died building stadiums in Qatar. It's crazy. Tanner Plummer says, oh crap, LIV golf tournament trying to make a deal with Amazon. We all know what they do to people's heads. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Exactly right.
Saudi stooge.
Arlington Bears says he's in Saratoga Springs. Well, I've been to Arlington Bears' house.
Yeah. Nice pad, dude.
Chris has one of the nicest houses.
Yeah, bro.
I mean,
yeah.
You have got a palace. And by the way, I hope you and your family are well this morning. I know that the snow out there is crazy. If you're here in Utah this morning, are you excited about the snow? I am excited about the snow. Now, I'm a snowboarder. I'm looking forward to going snowboarding maybe this afternoon or tomorrow morning. I'm not so excited to drive the canyon roads this afternoon, but we'll see. Because they're saying that this snow is gone.
Yeah,
essentially, it's over.
Yeah.
Now it is coming to an end for most northern Utah. The snow is stopped, But new snow
Jesus.
overnight. Alta got 12. Snowbird got 12. Brighton got 11. Park City and Deer Valley got 9 inches.
Let's go.
So, and by the way, another storm is coming in Sunday into Monday.
Let's go.
So it's a great year of snow. I'm really excited for it. But yeah, Chris Karn has a palace. He's a stud. Neville93 says it's snowing so bad that they cancel school in Sandy today. Really?
Well, that's
really,
good,
Neville?
Neville. That means you listen to the whole show back to front, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah, no. Don't do that. Neville, good to see you, friend. Mike Maple says, wait, is Tanner interested about Arlington because he wants to stop by and give a couple of pointers?
Pointers on what?
What do you mean pointers? Do you mean... No, I'm not going there. Kanai says, what's the worst that can happen to them, Tanner? Jake, by the way, Tanner wants to know why you're not running the Pac-12.
Yeah, because my last name isn't Kleovkok.
Yeah, Kleovkok.
Yeah.
Seriously. Let's see. Barfing Chicken says snow is good. It is good. Tanner says, I'm crazy excited about the snow. We need the water badly. Yes, we do. Justin Sal says you can't go snowboarding tomorrow morning. You have to watch us lose to the Netherlands tomorrow. Oh, yeah. What was I thinking? Yeah, can't go.
Hey, Tanner. Hey, buddy. What was that tweet about RSL knocking out Germany?
Yeah.
What was that?
I left that one alone.
How did that work out?
I left that one alone. By the way, how about my guy Kai Havertz for Germany? Chelsea's finest.
Come on.
Chelsea's finest.
Let's go.
I love the snow.
Yeah.
Frankly, and yeah, Justin.
But again, why do you love the snow? You have all-wheel drive, you snowboard.
I have Quattro in the Audi. I have a lifted Jeep that clearly has 4-wheel drive. And I've got the T-Rice Pro LibTech board.
Yeah.
I've got the step-on Burton bindings, pretty much a stud.
The Sub isn't half bad in the snow either. Just saying.
You know the crazy thing real quick before we get to the Pac-12 championship game here on the Monty Show, presented by the Advocates. Find them online at theadvocates.com. You were the first one to make tracks on our street.
Yeah,
this morning.
I got first tracks in the hood.
So Jake comes over to my house. Our routine is Jake comes to my house at 4:30. We generally hop in the Audi and we drive over to the Maverick Center. So he comes over to the house this morning and he's the first one on the streets. And I'm telling you, in South Jordan, it had to be 5 inches.
You think
no,
it's 5?
It was 5 inches. Yeah. On my back deck, it was easily 5 inches.
Yeah.
It was probably 5 inches. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But driving out, I was tempted to do a donut on the Parkway, but I didn't do it. I chickened out. Admittedly, I chickened out. Skeet says, if you're going to ski, just be safe. And remember, you can't catch every fish. Why?
I don't know I'm not sure what that means.
Why? Tanner says, yeah, that RSL tweet didn't age well. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. No, it did not. It did not age well at all. The biggest stories in sports every morning on the Monty Show is presented by our good friends at Quick Quack Car Wash. Make sure you get to Quick Quack Car Wash. Make sure that you, friends, get the wash pass at Quick Quack, because I tell you every day on this show that Quick Quack Car Wash is the best in the business. And I again love the fact that today it's snowing this morning. My car is out here in the parking lot covered in snow.
We did bring the snow brush.
We did. We have matriculated into adulthood.
Yes.
By bringing a snow brush. But I know that the roads are salty. I'm telling you now, I'm gonna leave here. I'm gonna drive to the district and I'm gonna go through the Quick Quack Car Wash in South Jordan.
Yep.
And I'm going to go park Klaus in the garage.
Well, and you know that this is the busy season for car washes, right? Like, the line's going to be long today, but that's the great thing about Quick Quack. You're through in 5 minutes, even with a long line, because they actually have great human beings working the car wash.
And it's fast. It's efficient. They're giving you free car washes right now, so make sure you get to your local Quick Quack Car Wash. Big shout out to everybody who was sending us pictures on Twitter the other day of all the Quick Quackiness, which obviously... we love, and I'm trying to find that one photo that's amazing. There was one guy who took a picture for us, and I know I'm going to regret this, because I should know who this is. And by the way, Travis Bird sends me photos with every famous person he's ever met.
Well, it's Big Daddy
Raptors. Thank you. Big Daddy Magic.
Big Daddy Magic.
Raptors 8801. Jeremy sent me a picture of him going through the Quick Quack. It was amazing.
Yes.
It was amazing. You guys got to do that. By the way, yes, everybody has been over the last couple of weeks asking me about merch. I actually had a girlfriend reach out to me and say, hey, by the way, do you guys have sweatshirts yet? I'd like to give my husband one for Christmas. I'm a terrible person. We do not have merch yet. Actually, it's
We're
Mrs.
working
Monty's
on it.
fault.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Yes, so
We
we
really
will.
are. There's a lot that goes into it. It's
there
not as
is.
easy as just making a call.
Yeah, it's not that easy. Jeff Johnson, what's up? How the heck are you?